Welcome everyone to the AJF Hangout for Southern Europe. Now we venture to a particularly dynamic part of the contemporary jewellery world, where we hear news regularly of exhibitions, workshops, festivals across the Mediterranean. We have an opportunity to hear directly from our AJF ambassadors about what's evolving there. We have with us Anastasia Kandaraki from Greece, Carlos Silva from Portugal, and Catalina Gibert from Spain. So let's start off with Greece, which has just had its Athens Jewelry Week, and at the heart of which is Anastasia. So welcome. And where are you?
Right now I'm at my studio, at Anama Studio, where we're having some workshops and seminars in contemporary jewelry here in Athens. I'm in the capital in Greece, and happy to be with you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. And we go to Carlos. Where are you in the world, Carlos?
Hi, everybody. I'm in Israel, which is more or less 20 kilometers from the capital, which is Lisbon. In my studio, happy to.
Good to see you there. And finally, Kata, where in the world are you?
Well, I'm in Mallorca, Balearic Islands, in Spain, in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, and talking to you.
And what sort of morning is it in the middle of the Mediterranean?
Pretty sunny and good temperature, around 25 degrees, so pretty good.
Perfect. Well, it's lucky we can all join you.
Come.
Good. So let's go back to Greece where we began. And Anastasia, tell us something about the Greek scene, you know, what the state of contemporary jewelry is there in your view.
For Greece is something very new, I have to say. It's something that is flourishing right now, the last like 6-7 years. And it's very fresh for the Greeks, also for the whole scene internationally. The last thing that, big thing I think that happened was Athens Jewelry Week. It was the second edition this year. The first one was last year in 2016, and it was like 3 weeks ago that happened here in Athens, and it had a lot of artists from Greece, but also from abroad, internationally, and it went has a lot of visitors, and we start to build a scene in contemporary jewelry. Actually, I can say that is the first thing that is happening in Greece in this scene of jewelry.
Can you say something about this very interesting sensory experience that was part of the festival that I believe you were involved in?
Okay, this actually started last year. The organizers are Rato Kouloubi, Niki Stylianou, and me, and all started with love. Actually, we just love what we are doing, and we want to share it, and we want the people to get to know about what is contemporary jewelry. So, as I said, this year was the second time that happened. It was actually a jewelry week, like a festival of exhibitions, lectures, and workshops that had 6 exhibitions. The central exhibition was at the Benaki Museum. We were very happy that Benaki Museum helped us for that and support us to do that. And at the same time, we had some guest artists, which is Peter Bauchowitz, was our guest artist in the central exhibition, and also the other 5 exhibitions around the city of Athens in different venues. And at the same time, as I said, we had lectures, very interesting lectures from Peter Bauchowitz, from Juan, from Alliage Gallery, Marianne Garchier, the collector from France, and Georgia Gremuti, a jewelry artist and sculptor. It was very fresh what happened. A lot of people came. We estimate that there were like more than 1,000 visitors. We're very happy to share that and to get involved also people that are from abroad, and because we have an international also participation. And we want to continue. It's something that will continue. We hope that people support it and we can go on with new ideas and projects in contemporary jewelry.
We certainly hope so too, Anastasia. It seems that the art world currently is very interested in Athens because of the presence of Documenta there, and also the centre of activity at the Benaki Museum. So it seems very good timing that contemporary jewelry is part of that as well.
Yes, the timing was perfect. Happened that at the same time, the Benaki Museum hosted an exhibition of Documenta, and happened also that in our opening was the International Museum Day. So all the museums were open, free for the public. So this timing was so good. So the people could come and to see what is happening and to see what is this jewelry thing, which is very strange now for the people here.
Yes, well, Greece obviously has a very long history in that regard too. So let's move to Portugal now, to Carlos. We hear so much from you about what's happening in Portugal. So I know it's a difficult challenge, but can you give us some overview of the scene?
Well, it's not easy, so I have to find information to send to AJF, which is very good. I think it's very good to have the help of AJF in order to promote our contemporary jewelry. It's very alive, so we try to do as much as we can. On the 26th, we are going to have a very big contemporary jewelry exhibition, Sociedade Nacional de Belas Artes, which is in Lisbon, organized by PIN, because Lisbon is the Ibero capital of culture this year. And PIN proposed this project, and it was accepted to be a part of the official program. So we are going to have lots of artists from the 23 countries part of Ibero-America. very happy because it's one way as well to promote contemporary jewelry. We try to do as much as we can in order to people know this kind of jewelry because they are not used to it. I think it's one way in order for us to have what can I say more?
And you seem to have a very active organization there in Portugal. PIN.
You mean PIN? Yeah. So PIN, it's in 2004 by Cristina Felipe, Marilia Mira, and Paula Paur, created by the of Ars Ornata in Lisbon. It was a very good way as well to promote contemporary jewelry. We had lots of events in the city as well as in different venues, not only galleries or museums. It was held as well in normal shops, downtown. PIN tries to as well make like lectures when we have artists from abroad, which normally we try to organize with the galleries and the artists. Normally they are free attending.
Can I ask you, Carlos, when you look at other aspects of Portuguese culture, like music, the performance, theatre, visual art, is there generally a sense of a vibrant scene, and contemporary jewelry is part of that, or is there something special about contemporary jewelry in this scene? Is it part of a broader kind of cultural energy, do you feel?
I think we still have a long way to go to be to have like a vibrant what's the word? Sorry.
Scene, yeah.
Yeah. Our question was, sorry, I lost.
Whether you feel that Portuguese culture generally is in a very vibrant state at the moment.
If it's very vibrant, well, we have this big exhibition coming, and I believe so. And we are going to have another one in Paris during the Circuit Bijou, PIN as well. And we have a very good thing for Portuguese contemporary jewelry, which was the Susan Bish grant by Cristina Felipe. A very good way as well to help us promote our contemporary jewelry artists.
Yes, well, it seems that there's a lot developing, and we certainly look forward to seeing that publication come out so we can learn more about not just the contemporary scene, but also the history, how you got there. It should be very interesting. Can we go now to the middle of the Mediterranean, Qatar, in Mallorca? We hear such vibrant happenings around Spain at the moment. Where do you see the energies in contemporary jewelry now?
Well, I think we are pretty, as you say, it's a pretty vibrant scene. We are moving a lot, And as we have the story of contemporary jewelry here is around 40 years, so it's quite a long time. And we have schools of jewelry around the country, in Barcelona, Tarragona, Valencia, Madrid, Sevilla. So it's really, the thing is moving. That's really something really good. And also there are workshop spaces where they give lectures, small courses and so on. We can say Taller Perilla in Barcelona, Fabricados en Valencia, La Lavillou in Madrid, De Terra also in Sant Cugat in Barcelona. So really the thing is evolving well. And also we are, I think, really a good meeting point in South Europe, thanks to things like, well, we have got the Massana School, and now we have also the Hoya event every year. And for Hoya, we have people from all around the world, not only Europe and South Europe. And there is full of exhibitions, not only the Mainly Fair, and also we have organized by the school from Valencia, Melting Point every 2 years. And it's really something really interesting because it's really in the city center of the old town in Valencia. And it's all the group together. We go from exhibition to exhibition, and it's really a nice atmosphere with full of people and really amazing.
It sounds quite an energetic and very festive scene, particularly along that coast between Barcelona and Valencia, Tarragon,
Yeah.
places like that.
Yeah, I think that the sun and the good weather helps a lot.
Sure. Well, that's not always the case with jewelry. Sometimes they say that bad weather, where people have to wear heavy coats like I am now in Melbourne, helps at least pin brooches too.
Yeah, but also here, that's also one thing. Here in the Mediterranean coast, brooches are not really something really worn. So people prefer some earrings or necklaces or something like this. But I have to say that also the Mediterranean coast has been really, in the cultural scene, really has moved a lot. We have got a lot of artists, and it's really something that has helped a lot also to develop something like contemporary jewelry.
And tell us about this village, I believe, that is on your island, which has its own contemporary jewelry art gallery.
Well, Mallorca is a small island, and we have one gallery in Palma, that is capital, is run by Alba Pont, and she studied in La Massana, and she has the gallery and also a small workshop there. And also in Sóller is a small village in the north coast of the island. It's a pretty nice village with modernist buildings and so on, and a museum with modern art. And there's a small space there that is, well, they have art, but also other kind of things like ceramics, small paintings, this kind. But they have a program of exhibitions there, and it's pretty constant, and they have a program mainly in summer because it's easier for people to go there and days are longer and so on. But they move, and also to arrive there is quite nice because you have an old wooden train, one of the oldest of the world, that takes you from Palma to Sóller. And it's really, just the travel by train is something amazing. And the place itself is pretty nice.
Well, I really think that we should start listing contemporary jewelry pilgrimages of the world and put this village certainly there. It sounds a wonderful, mysterious journey in the contemporary jewelry world. And who would think that you could find a gallery in a village? Contemporary jewelry seems such a metropolitan and urban phenomenon. It's what we discover. The scene from Spain also seems quite multidisciplinary. Is that your feeling as well?
You mean that we have people from all another disciplines that are working into art jewelry?
Yes.
Yeah, well, more and more we have people that has been trained in art jewelry schools, but mainly people came from architecture. Well, I came from architecture and painting. Other people came from fine arts studies and have done sculpture, something like this. And another thing that has helped a lot has been the crisis, because a lot of people with the crisis has finished without a job, so they have to reinvent themselves, and for them has been a good excuse or a good way to start with his creative self. And some people has believed in jewelry, so
Well,
kind things of not all the things that came with the crisis were bad, at least.
no, well, that was one of the surprising things about Greece, Anastasia, that almost coinciding with the crisis seemed to be the emergence of the contemporary jewelry scene there, various exhibitions. Do you recall that time?
It's very strange, but it's also very normal, I think. I think that because of the crisis, all the creative fields are flourishing, and the people it's a need, actually. Not only to make art, not only to create art, but also to look out for art. They need a new paths. They need new ways of a new perspectives. So they are searching of that because of the crisis. And I think it's a good thing for arts in general. Not for economics, but the arts are getting up and up and up. Yes.
Right. Well, that's an interesting and important idea coming out of this conversation now, that that contemporary jewelry may be the kind of practice, perhaps with other arts, that people can turn to when money isn't so reliable, when the normal economic machine isn't working as well, and people begin to question the value of what they're doing, that they can turn to something which has artistic value. Before we go to general discussion, I should also just say something about Italy. Unfortunately, Nishka Marabin is unable to join us, but fortuitously, I was in Florence for the Florence Jewelry Week a couple of weeks ago. As we know, Florence has two terrific academies, Alchemia and Le Arti Orafe. And the interesting aspect that I observed with classes and the exhibition Preciosa, which is a key part of Florence Jewelry Week at Le Arti Orafe, is the strong presence of Chinese students, which may not be unique to Italy. We've heard this also in other countries, but Preciosa certainly showcased a number of Chinese students working particularly in new technologies such as 3D printing and resin and laser cutting. So And I believe that some of you, like Anastasia, you studied at alchemia and so on. So it's interesting to see how Italy can function as an international zone in your region generally. But let's open it up. I'd like to open it up now to this question of what might be seen as distinctive in Southern Europe. Are there any particular things which seem to represent the contemporary jewellery practice, and also any particular challenges that you see? Any thoughts on that?
Well, I haven't talked about it, but I think it's also really representative of Spain, but also helps all the world of contemporary jewelry that we have here, based here, Clinton too, that is the main resource all jewelers look at when we need some kind of information. So it's really something that helps all the contemporary jewelry world. And also we have to mention Montserrat Lacomba and Mar de Color Rosa blog, because she has been helping a lot to let them people know about artists, and is still working with the Facebook page. And I think it's really important because it's not only making, we have also to inform about what we are doing. If not, we are making for ourselves, and there's no point on this.
Yes, good point.
And also, I would like to mention the links with contemporary art and jewelry. That is something that is missing, I think, because it's considered jewelry like something aside from contemporary art, and we really need to get in contact with other arts. And for instance, here in Spain, last year in Melting Point, the main exhibition was in Centro del Carmen. That is one of the main museums of art. So it's really something important for us to have an exhibition there and it being considered as art. And also, for instance, Las Joya, there was an exhibition that was curated by Nishka Marovin, about Ramon Casas, and that connected pieces, works from Ramon Casas, paintings and drawings with pieces of jewelry. I think these are really interesting points to really start joining together with the contemporary art world.
Any thoughts about that, Carlos or Anastasia?
Yes, I agree with Kata. I believe we have to open the horizons, not only for our field very close or closed. And so we have heard that people know about contemporary jewelry as well. I believe we have lots of museums, but like in Portugal, they should buy more pieces. So I believe that it's important as well, because we have to be close to the normal in order for them to understand what it is, because normally people think that jewelry, it's about gold and silver, and you cannot make a jewelry, you cannot make jewels with wood, for instance. We're always thinking about noble materials.
Well, this is and has been a very important issue, and at AJF we've seen, for instance, some worry when visual artists use jewelry or make jewelry, for instance, that there isn't often the understanding of the skill and the techniques with materials that is important to contemporary jewelry. Do you see that as being something which is an issue to have to deal with before contemporary jewelry can be seen alongside visual art?
Well, Anastasia. Well, I think it should be considered into visual arts, contemporary jewelry. But I think also that the main thing is education, because people is not only about techniques and so on, they simply don't know about contemporary jewelry. Because when you get in contact with someone and you have the time to explain and to show some of your pieces, they really connect with you and see what you are doing and see, I was unable to imagine that something like this is going on. So really, this gap is missing, the contact with the potential audience and not only with the audience that we have already, that are people that's interested in contemporary jewelry.
So it's interesting you say that, Kata, that all of you have reflected on the way in which contemporary jewelry is beginning to broaden its audience. That in Athens, the Athens Jewelry Week coincided with Documenta, was in the same museum as Documenta, so shared audiences. Carlos is getting contemporary jewelry ready for this festival of culture happening in Portugal. And you talk about events involving theatre and performance in Spain. So the Mediterranean from the rest of the world looks quite open in terms of its audience. Is there anything particular you think more should happen? What would you look for to continue this, to take it further?
I think these are really the first steps to really going into this direction. But we really need to get stronger to continue with this labor, but also to have the possibility to widen a little bit more.
All right. Any other thoughts before we conclude from Carlos or Anastasia?
I think that it's totally, as Kata and Carlos said before, it's about education, and the people here are jewelry is very connected to the tradition, and it's very difficult to understand the other way and the other perspective. So they need to see things. So that's why it's good. If we don't have something, it's good to create it, and good to go out to the streets, to wear and to communicate with people, and also we have to be careful also at the same time that it's good to present it in the way that it reserves. I mean, the way that it has to be presented, and because they don't know, it's easy to have a misunderstanding of that. I have a lot of comments about what is that? It's made out of plastic, it's made out of wood, and it's not jewelry, and how can I wear that? And a lot of this kind of question. So
maybe that's
the environment.
Maybe that's a curatorial issue. That the plinth isn't necessarily always the best object for showing jewelry, the object on its own. And as we've seen, the use of photography, video, and installation maybe is important to represent things as you're saying, Anastasia.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. I think we've come to a very interesting point now where we see that, in a sense, Southern Europe is arguably, I'm sure we will have differences of opinion, but from some perspective, it seems to be leading the contemporary jewelry scene at the moment, certainly in terms of energy, and that you have a determination to see it go further and to engage particularly with the visual arts audience. So with that desire, I'm sure you'll find those of us in the rest of the contemporary jewelry world with you and be very interested and excited to see what else emerges from your period. So thank you very much for the snapshot of Southern Europe. Thanks very much, Anastasia, Carlos, and Kata. Okay, everyone. Ciao.
Thank you.
Ciao. Bye.